Yo, what's up everybody? Another video for you, another preview show. Got the Gallagher Premiership happening this weekend. Just like to start off by saying, I know I haven't covered any Super Rugby for a while. I haven't had a chance to watch the games live and do live reviews. I have been watching the highlights, I've been keeping up with it. I just think with the domestic leagues, I'm kind of a lot more focused on them at the moment in terms of watching the live games. But rest assured, I will be back on the Super Rugby once this all kind of dies down. I do enjoy it, and it is a different brand of rugby. This weekend, what do we got? Well, we've got the Gallagher English Premiership, the last game of the regular season. I'm not going to be doing any predictions this week. One, I got totally burned with my prediction last week. In terms of the semi-finals, especially the Leinster-Toulouse game, and I don't want to be in such a rush to put on the Tesco bag of shame. In addition to that as well though, I think a lot of the teams this weekend in the English Premiership are going to be probably playing their reserves. You know, it's not going to be a standard, everyone wants to win the games. Only a few things really up for grabs this weekend. I think the top four is already pretty much decided. Even the order from like 1 to 4 is pretty much decided at this point, unless Leicester lose by 70 points. We're more talking about, in terms of positioning of the Premiership, we're more talking about Europe and how that's going to be affected by the games that are happening this weekend. I'm also going to be at the Leicester Tigers game, so there will be some content from that. I'm hoping to do a little bit of filming around the ground, stuff like that. So yeah, let's get into it. Without delaying any further, let's have a look at Bath versus Saracens. So, Bath Saracens. Diet Pepsi, product placement. I wish. Bath Saracens. So what do I think about Bath Saracens? Well, it's really going to be dependent, I think, on whether Saracens are going to be playing their reserves or whether they're going to be playing their first team. And I think an argument could be made one way or the other. They did play much of their reserves and not their starting team in the last matchup that they had in the Premiership. They had it against London Irish, and they won. And I don't know, like, the reason that I'm not sure they're going to do the same thing again is because the next game that they will play will be the semi-final knockout when everyone's going to be good to go. So I think it'll be an internal decision within their camp whether they go for their first team rugby team or whether they decide to play the backups again and protect the players. Again, that's going to be very much an internal decision and we're not going to know until the teams are out. Bath are playing for one of the final Heineken Cup positions at the moment. They're currently positioned at 9th. They have the same amount of points as the team in 8th in Bristol, but they're behind on points difference. So they're going to be looking to try and win this game for sure. I just think that Bath's ability to win the game is very much decided on who Saracens play. Still, if Saracens don't play their front team, their first team, I still think it's going to be a massive uphill battle for Bath to win it. I mean, the example is London Irish, which Saracens played last. They played against Saracens, which I've just said. But they were playing, I would say, arguably not the starters, and they still kind of lost comfortably. And I think London Irish are probably, arguably, definitely a better team than Bath are. But, you know, this is an opportunity for Bath to grow for next year, as well as also compete for that Heineken Cup position. What do I think the most likely outcome is going to be? I'm not going to put a score on it. I think Saracens, either way, whether they're playing first team or second team, they're going to beat Bath. And I think that will be sealing the deal of Bath staying out of the Heineken Cup. And yeah, you know, best of luck to Bath for next season. It's not been a great year for them, but hey ho, we all have them. On to the next game. Bristol Gloucester. Now, this is, I think, probably the most interesting game of the weekend. Both teams are playing for Heineken Cup positioning. We got Bristol in at 8th and we got Gloucester in at 10th. Gloucester are only 1 point behind Bristol, which means that if they win, they can leapfrog Bristol and get into the Heineken Cup. And it's an interesting game, right? Bristol have kind of had that. They had a run of bad form last year, and that's kind of continued into this year as well, which is confusing for me considering the players that they have and the coaching staff as well with Pat Lam. Something's just off there, and I don't get it because the talent's there, but they just haven't been able to kind of put it together for 2 full seasons now. Gloucester ravaged by industry. Ravaged by injury. Gloucester completely ravaged by injury this season. They had high hopes and they kind of fell short. I think it's at Bristol as well. I'm pretty sure I remember the last Gloucester game. It was Billy Twelvetree's last game at home. So I don't know. The last time I saw Gloucester play, I think they played with, they lacked that just a little bit of cohesion that a team kind of towards the end of the year has, probably because of all the injuries. But Bristol have just got some bugaboos, man. They got some bad juju, bad voodoo going on around them. I don't know, even if it's at home for Bristol, I think I'm tending to side with Gloucester kind of taking the win and getting that last Heineken Cup position. Either way, you'd hope, because both teams have quality players within them, that whoever wins the game has a better season next year, competes in the Heineken Cup as well as the Premiership. And even if they lose, maybe that is what both teams need just to kind of reset for the next year. Europe is kind of out of the equation, focus on the Premiership, get back into that top 8, maybe even surprise some people and get into the top 4. I think both teams have the talent available to do that, although I think it's unlikely. Yeah, I think it's an interesting game. That's the one with the most to lose this weekend. Either team has an opportunity to go and get that Heineken Cup spot for next year. So, moving on. Leicester Tigers versus Harlequins. As I said, I'm going to be at the game. Last home game for the Tigers. Kind of the same deal with Saracens playing Bath, are we going to see the first team? Are we going to see the second team? Which side of Leicester are we going to see come out? Are we going to get the backups coming up? Personally, for me, I think the front 15 has kind of shown enough, especially in the last few games, that they're already ready and prepared. I'd give them the week off. I'd give the backups some game time. I'd love to see Charlie Atkinson out on the pitch, have him at 10, run a full 80 minutes. I think Jack Van Portfleet could probably still do with the 80 minutes. I think he needs as much game time as possible. He just needs experience. He's got all the talent in the world. And yeah, I mean, put Mike Brown on the pitch at fullback, them having a revenge game against Harlequins. Harlequins, I'm sure after winning it last year, they're going to be, they're going to be chomping at the bit for their last game of the season. I think they're probably going to be playing every start that they have, go out and try and win the game. So I think it's going to be a fun game to be at, and I'm certainly looking forward to the atmosphere and the game itself, and hopefully seeing kind of Harlequins having a bit of a bounce back. I believe they are in 7th, but they're safe. There is no way of them being relegated down the Heineken Cup. So they're in, they're solidified. You've got nothing to lose. You've got nowhere to go, nowhere up, nowhere down. Might as well just, go hell for leather, play everyone that you have, and just go out and have a great time in the last game of the season, got long off season. England and the World Cup is going to happen before you're probably next back on the pitch, I think. I think that's how it works. I'm not 100% sure, 100% clued in. But yeah, go out there, play all your starters, go for 80 minutes. Don't protect anybody, Please just, I'd like to go and watch Marcus Smith live, Is that too much? Is that too much to ask? Yeah, I think it should be a good game. I think Leicester should should start some people, sit some people. What the reality is very much up to Richard Wigglesworth and the coaching staff. But yeah, should be a good game. I'm looking forward to it. London Irish, Exeter Chiefs. I honestly don't have too much to say about this game. Both of them secure for Heineken Cup. They're not really got much to play for. But they're two teams that can play exciting rugby. I think London Irish have a great style of rugby that I've really enjoyed kind of catching up over the last couple of weeks. Paddy Jackson's a great distributor and their backs are lightning, like absolutely electric players. Exeter Chiefs kind of still stuck trying to get that experience in their forward pack, trying to play a style of rugby that's very forward dominant. So this is just another week for them to get experience. And at the end of the season, I think the two teams have got kind of a lot to think about, kind of in two different moods though. I think London Irish have got a lot to think about in the positive, in that they've massively improved who they are. They've got a wealth of young talent that's starting to prove themselves. And I think they've got some big decisions in what they've got to do for like missing pieces to kind of put them over the edge and get them into the top 4 next season. So it's really exciting for them. Whereas Exeter, I think, are in the opposite. They're definitely not in panic stations, but they've got to start thinking, I think, more about how do we play our style of rugby and how do we build a squad around that style that we want to play. At the moment, I don't think those two are really in synergy. I think Exeter would really benefit from either modifying how they play rugby or signing some people to kind of get things, working in the way they want to. Make some signings. Go and get some real grafters in the Type 5, I'm literally picking up names from the past that are obviously not playing, don't get me wrong, but get some grafters, get a Lewis Deacon, get a Paul O'Connell. Get someone that's, just line out and scrum a specialist in the pack. Get a really good carrying number 8. I maybe they do have one at the moment. I can't really think straight, but I'm pretty sure that they could just use some real good additions in there in the pack that sets up their forward game. Losing Jack Knoll, that's a big loss. I love Jack Knoll. I think his play is great. So that's a big loss for them at the end of the season. So hopefully they go out with a bang. But yeah, none of them are losing this game, but plenty of exciting rugby that I think could happen. So exciting stuff. Anyway, last game.
Oh, come on. No.
Sale Newcastle Falcons. So both teams, nothing to play for. I think Newcastle are down and out. Yeah, bottom of the Premiership. No chance of getting into top 8. Sale are locked into their position of 3rd. And they can only... Sorry, not 3rd, 2nd, my bad. I wish they were 3rd. I wish we were 2nd. Bonus point win for Leicester doesn't get them anywhere near Leicester to Sale, and Sale are so far off Saracens that it makes no difference. So I think this is probably one of the least interesting games of the weekend, honestly. Sale probably most likely, in my mind, they got some sense, won't be picking their starters. Newcastle have got some cool wingers. And that's about it, really. Not a whole lot to say about this game. The only interesting aspect, I think, will be, will Sale try and keep momentum by playing their starters and rout Newcastle? Or will they try and put some of their people on the bench on the starting 15? I think that's about it. I don't know. Watching Newcastle for the last few weeks, I don't want to be harsh, but you played in the Premiership, you won 6 games, lost 13, and it wasn't, I don't know, I don't want to say anything about I don't know if you knowledge on, you got a point differential of a minus 175, I know that they're bottom of the Premiership and this would just make sense anyway, but they are a team that I think typically needs to get relegated so that someone else can come and compete. Kind of buys into that whole conversation that I had with my dad as part of the interview of just, come on, man, let someone else give it a go because this team ain't it. They're not competitive. They haven't been for the last few weeks that I've watched them. So
it's the biggest piece of dog.
yeah. Go on, some final thoughts. Final thoughts in my mind, you know, this is a weekend where there's not a lot up for stake. There's 2 games that I think are significant, which is the Bath and Saracens, but I think to me it's quite unlikely that Bath will win, and therefore the only real competitive game I think happening this weekend is Bristol Gloucester. I mean, this is a weekend of just have fun, man. You know, if your team don't play your stars, you get to see some people that have been working up in the academy. They get tested. I think that's one of the beauties of Premiership rugby, is that not only do we have this at this part of the season, which is unusual, but we have this more kind of like when international competitions are there, you get to test these players that are like younger, you know, they get a chance to come to the pitch and kind of like test their mettle at top level. And this seems like one of those weekends again where, you know, the people that don't typically get to start on the pitch, we get a look at them. We have a look at the future, you know, of some of these younger guys coming in. So exciting weekend. It's just going to be a nice, fun, chill weekend of, you know, let's play some rugby. Unless, of course, you're Bath, Bristol or Gloucester, in which case you've got a lot to play for this weekend. But hey, wherever you are, enjoy the weekend. I know I will be at Leicester versus Harlequins. Hey, it's another weekend of rugby. It could be a lot worse, right? Anyways, checking out for this week. I'll see you in the review show on Sunday.